Wow, this is terribly slow. I wish I had something faster.
Here, try this iPhone now.
Wow, now I can get all my projects done at one time.
What? Man, you can't have your phone in school.
Yeah, you can. It's BYOD.
What's BYOD?
Find out now.
Education Today starts now.
Welcome to Education Today. I'm Michael Cook
And I'm Elena Pitzer.
of Ford City High School in the Armstrong School District.
Over the last few years, we've brought our district technologies directors in to talk about what's new and exciting in technology that has been implemented into our district. In the past, we've covered our new district website, laptop cards, and many other things. This year, we will give you an update on our current technologies, but add a few new things as well and what is planned moving forward.
To talk more about the Armstrong School District technologies, we have with us today Mr. Tony Grenda and Mr. Chris Clausen. Welcome to Education Today. Would you please introduce yourselves and give a brief background of your personal experience?
Yes, I'm Tony Grenda. I've been working with the school district for the last 14 and a half years. Can't believe it's been that long. But prior to that, I worked for a company called Road Data. It was a video conferencing company, and I was a service manager there. So that's my last 16 years.
My name's Chris Clausen. I've worked for the district for about 12 years, probably a little over at this point. It's actually been my first full-time job in technology. It's been very rewarding and learned a lot along the way.
It's very good.
There are various technologies that are used throughout the district. Can you give us a brief overview of what kind of things are out there?
We have quite a mixture of different technologies out there, anything from whiteboards and projectors for the teachers to use in the classroom. I know Chris has been working very hard lately on implementing wireless infrastructure across the entire district, which will allow us to implement even more things in the future, potentially BYOD, hopefully in the near future to electronic textbooks, try to do away from hard copy textbooks. What other things can we mention too, Chris?
I think the iPad carts are something that are new that we've been implementing, and I think we'll talk more about that later. But that also then ties into some of the other things we're doing with wireless infrastructure and things of that nature.
Okay. Our website offers our district some different features. How can people take full advantage of the site, and what exactly does our website offer?
I think the main thing you can get from the website is you need to start viewing it, clicking all the links, try to see all the different areas of the website. There's a lot of educational resources. There's links to other like the Aaron website that will give us information as far as school closures, those type of things. There's a wealth of information about the different departments, school board policies. As I said, just take the time to go ahead and start looking through the website. You'll be able to see all the information there.
We've talked about the CFF grants in the past. How has their initiative modernized the regular classroom?
What's your thoughts on that, Chris?
Well, I think it's been a positive change. Implemented whiteboards and document cameras and things like that. It seems to be bringing the students more into the instruction. It's more interactive instead of just I talk, you listen kind of a scenario. And I think that's the thing that I took away from it is the biggest change. I mean, obviously getting technology out into the students' hands as well. You know, at that time it was laptops and things in the classroom. That's sort of continued, but you know, as the years have gone on, they've aged, and trying to keep up with that financially has been a challenge. And I think we're always looking for new ways to try to extend that.
Is there anything new in regards to this technology that is now being implemented?
As far as the CFF laptops you're talking about, or just in general, I think the biggest move that we're starting to see right now is a heavy reliance on wireless. And a lot of those things right now, one of the biggest and probably the hottest topics right now is BYOD, bring your own device. And it relies heavily on a strong wireless infrastructure. What that allow everyone to do is to bring their own devices in and to actually connect to the district's resources, network resources. So you could use your own device that you're already comfortable with. Instead of having to pull out a laptop out of a cart, you could bring your own iPad or tablet to access any of the district resources, any of the classroom materials, and even as far as like the blendedschools.net, sort of like what we're using for the cyber school right now, that for the blended students, they could even access that information as well. So.
I think I was just going to add one little thing to that. The hardest part about doing a BYOD kind of scenario is the security issue, and I know that's a major concern for everyone. And that's one of the things we're concentrating on in the next probably year, is looking at that and how we can do it in a secure manner, because that's the most important thing to us, is so that if we would go down this road, that we don't have security issues that compromise our internal infrastructure.
I completely agree. What are some of the benefits to having this technology implemented into the schools?
Probably the biggest benefit is the students are already comfortable with the devices. There's no learning curve on their end trying to figure out a new software. It's something they use on a daily basis. I'm sure you guys use that for texting and whatever, accessing the internet. So that takes the learning curve out of the process. So.
This is clearly a never-ending process. What is the average life cycle for this equipment, and how do you plan for what needs to be replaced and when?
The typical life cycle for especially classroom computers is about 5 years. We've run into the challenge with budget challenges over the last several years of trying to extend that lifespan. We're getting to the point now where we're seeing 7 to 10 years is where we're headed, just due to our budget constraints. This is one thing that BYOD could help us with, because now the students can use a newer device to connect to the network instead of having to rely on a laptop. Like the CFF laptops are probably, about 6, 7 years old right now, Chris?
They're closer to 10.
Are they really?
They're closer
So,
to 10, yeah.
so as I said, so that right there can actually help the district as far as reducing the cost of replacing the technology in the classroom.
I guess to go along with that, there are so many computers to maintain throughout the school district, as well as other technologies that we haven't even mentioned yet. How do you keep all of these items organized, and what kind of life cycle do these items have?
Take this one, Chris.
Sure. That pretty much follows from the previous question. We have an inventory system. It's a web-based system that we keep track of. Every technology device has an asset tag barcode on it, and then that's also, we keep information of the serial numbers, when the purchase was, how much the purchase was at the time. So we keep track of that and try to then cycle those based on the age of those devices. Now, as Tony already said, we've had some difficulty trying to do that with budgetary constraints and things. So we are trying to find ways of stretching that life cycle out and using things like Linux, Ubuntu, desktops and things like that to try to extend that life cycle.
Another thing that we've started to do is start to look at open source applications that can help us try to reduce the financial burden on the district. A lot of open source applications in management software that we use right now, it really helps us to monitor and maintain what's going on with our servers. Like I said, Chris and Ron have done an excellent job of implementing a solution to actually monitor all the PCs, all the servers in the district. It gives us a real-time information, so if we know if there's something wrong, it alerts us immediately so we can respond to that. So.
Technology such as tablets or our lighter, smaller laptops have become increasingly popular. Is the district looking into a different solution regarding computers?
That's something that we've sort of touched on already as far as for the BYOD. We already have iPad cards throughout the district. I'd say we probably have a total of probably close to 500 to 600 iPads within the district right now. So they're already out there being used. But that is something else that we're still looking to see which direction do we want to go. Do we want to continue with iPads? Do we look at maybe possibly tablets? And another interesting solution that's been recently released is the Chromebook. So very low end cost. But the only thing about those is the limitation on those is you have to be connected to the internet to be able to do anything with them. So, which is something that we're looking into. Trying to be able to use a low-end device like that as a desktop, and it's something that Chris and I have been looking into is virtualized desktops, so we can use some of the older equipment and still still be able to have the latest and greatest operating system available to the end user.
Now, how difficult is it to keep all of these things constantly updated?
It's a constant challenge.
I would agree with that.
It's we have a staff of 5 people right now, and it's nonstop. It doesn't stop at the end of the day. We're very fortunate. We have very dedicated people in our staff that work sometimes around the clock, on weekends, evenings, whenever we need to try to keep things going. So, because you can't always work on things during business hours. Sometimes some of the maintenance we have to do after hours. So.
Okay, thanks very much. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Armstrong School District's Education Today. We'll be talking more with Mr. Chris Clausen and Mr. Tony Grenda, both the Armstrong School District Technology Department. Stick around.
Hello, I'm Cindy McCrae, Director of Arc Manor Addiction Recovery Center. Arc Manor is committed to confidential quality services 24 hours a day, including fully licensed residential, partial hospital, and outpatient treatment programs. With 39 years of experience in addiction treatment, Arc Manor puts an emphasis on the needs of special populations including women, co-occurring disorders, and adolescents. For more information, call 724-548-7607 or 800-323-1333. Brought to you by the Armstrong Indiana Drug-Free Communities Coalition.
Before I came to IUP, I had no idea what college would be like or what role I would play or where I'd be in the future. But when I came to IUP, everything changed. I met people who really made me feel like I belonged. I had great classes at a great nationally ranked university. Hi, my name is Megan Miller. I'm a fine arts major, and this is my university.
Vince Mercuri, Executive Director of the Open Door. Worried, scared, confused, not sure where to turn for help? The Open Door, a behavioral health organization, has a full range of addiction counseling services and mental health crisis intervention services which may be able to help. Call 724-465-2605 or 1-877-333-2470. The Open Door, steps towards hope, courage, and recovery. Brought to you by the Armstrong Indiana Drug-Free Communities Coalition.
We're back with Armstrong School District Education Today. We're talking with Mr. Tony Grenda and Mr. Chris Clausen of Armstrong School District Technology Department.
We would be remiss if we didn't mention the other members of the School District Technology Department. Who does your staff consist of?
Okay, I'll take that one. Well, the Director of Technology is Tony Grenda, sitting to my right. The Technology Coordinator is myself. Then we have a senior level help desk technician, which is Ron Goppin. We have a help desk analyst, information analyst, which is Jamie Osborne. And then we also have a service technician, which is Brad Bowser. And last but not least, is Mr. Greg Jordan, who is a maintenance staff that also works in technology for different projects, whether it be wiring or things like that.
So we do have one other position. There was a Bob Kell He was in that position, was help desk analyst. Unfortunately, we recently lost him to another job. So, if anybody's available out there, we will be hiring. So, it's a little advertisement there. So.
Okay.
Now, what are the constant challenges you face with the positions you're in?
For my position, my biggest challenge is to try to get everyone on my staff the tools that they need to do their jobs every day. Like I said, with the financial burdens across education, across the state of Pennsylvania, I think that's been my biggest challenge. I've been fortunate enough that I have a staff that's very creative and very resourceful in trying to find other solutions other than commercial, looking into open source, developing our own internal responses to things that we cannot purchase or we don't have the financial means to get. That's been my biggest challenge.
I think mine sort of goes off of that as well. I mean, the biggest challenge for us has been the financial thing, trying to implement the technologies of the 21st century with very little money to do so. So I mean, that's been a big challenge. Network infrastructure, things of those natures are very expensive and very costly to do them in a managed way so that we can keep track of things and we can monitor things and we can manage the network as a whole. Then obviously we were talking about the wireless infrastructure, things of that nature. And then that ties in with our sort of thirst for open source technology for, like Tony had mentioned earlier, we have a network control system, a network management system that keeps track of all of our servers. It keeps track of their updates. It keeps track of CPU utilization. I mean, it keeps track of the hardware itself as well as uptime. So most of the time we know something's wrong before anyone else does, which is kind of nice. But that's been our biggest challenge, is trying to do all of those things that a corporation would do that has countless, endless supply of money, and we don't have those resources available to us.
Let's get an update on some new technologies that were recently implemented. Let's talk about the 21st century classrooms.
Probably the latest things that we've been really implementing the most have been the iPads and iPad carts. Some of that has been funded by the district. Some of it has also been funded by the ASD Foundation. For the last several years, they've awarded carts to several different buildings in the district. Said it's been a great opportunity for the elementary buildings to actually get their hands on this technology and start using them. From what I've seen, the kids they love to play with the iPads, and they seem to get so much more out of that. And that's what we're looking to do, and as far as the education, try to put something in the hands of the teachers and the students that will enrich the experience.
A few other new technologies that students are gaining access to are items such as mobiles, active response systems, and Read 180. What are these programs and how are they utilized?
The MOBIs and the active response systems are probably closely related because they are actual physical devices that are used in the classroom. The MOBIs are an interactive tablet that could be passed around the room by a teacher and shown up on the whiteboard so they could have responses put up there for the students to interact with. And the active response system ties along with that as well, where a question could be posed to the entire class and it can poll for an answer. You know, it could be a yes/no question, A, B, C, to see how the students are either absorbing the material, and so I think it kind of gives a teacher, you know, instant feedback of where their students are and how they're taking the information that's being provided to them. And the Read 180 program is part of our class and a half, reading and a half program in the secondary level right now. And I don't know if Tony wants to add any more to that. Read 180, I'm not entirely familiar with. I'm more on the technical side of that, so if he wants to add anything to that.
Yeah, sure. They're using that for supporting for students, helping them with reading and accelerate that process for them. So it's an excellent software solution that we've had implemented for multiple years now. So.
We mentioned about iPads and tablets earlier, and we know now that there are some of these floating around the district in some select buildings. Can you talk about how they have begun to be implemented and what the district's plan is moving forward with them?
We've touched on this a few times. Yeah, we are. We're looking to move toward that and try to implement those. Obviously, for the cost savings, they're much less expensive to implement than a laptop, carts of laptops. There's a challenge with those as far as managing them, but in the long run, I think that's probably the way I see as the devices in the classroom. Those tablets, iPads, and potentially the Chromebooks is where we're really heading towards.
When technologies such as these tablets are added to the district through awarded grants and or other means, how does that affect the difficulty of your jobs?
I think it's probably twofold. First is actually getting them out to the staff and the students to use. Just in the case of iPads, they're really designed to be a single user device, and we're putting them in a environment where it's multiple users. So that's challenging. There are some tools out there, but it does take us a little bit of time to get them out there. But once we've done that, we've actually found some free resources that have helped us to manage that. So that allows us to try to get to distribute software or applications where they're needed to remotely, so we don't have to be as hands-on. So I think that's been one of our challenges. I think the other challenges on Chris's side is more network related. So you can probably speak to that.
I was going to add that. Yeah, actually, that obviously with all the tablets. I mean, we're talking about wireless devices, and that obviously is reliant on a pretty decent and reliable wireless infrastructure, and that's what we've been working on, and should be pretty much fully covered across the district by the summer of this summer of 2014, and then obviously with the new building coming, we'll also be looking to cover that as well. And I think the biggest challenge in that is how do you secure those devices, and how can we implement them in that fashion so that the kids can use them, but we're not restricting them to the point that they're unusable. So there's kind of a fine line that we have to try to walk there, so that we're doing the things we need to do for our funding and E-rate specifically. So we have to make sure that there's content filters on there and things of that nature. So that's been a challenging thing to try to how to implement that and do it in a way that's it's efficient and with the amount of staff we have.
Where do you see the value of these, and how can they enhance students' learning experience?
To me, I personally just think that it's a device that students are so familiar with. They're so used to using these on a regular basis outside of the school. Outside of school, it's transparent to them. For example, my stepdaughter has an iPad. She'll type an entire paper on that. Me personally, there's no way. I want a keyboard, but she loves to do that. So, and I just think try to get the technology that kids want to use in their hands, and you can see them, they'll thrive.
We've covered a lot of technologies that the district offers, and we know there is a yearly cycle of updates and services. I know you have been keeping an eye on the future when planning and implementing new technologies. How has all of that changed with the eventual closing of the 3 buildings and the opening of a brand new one for the 15-16 school year?
That is a huge challenge for us. Not only are we trying to continue on a yearly update cycle and trying to implement all the technology that we need, now we're talking about trying to figure out how we're going to take all the technology we have and get that from the existing buildings into the new building. So that's a huge challenge for us coming up next summer. The biggest is getting the whiteboards, because we're going to be transferring all the whiteboards from the existing whiteboards from the 3 buildings into the new building. And it's just a huge logistical nightmare, to say the least. We're going to have to work very closely with the contractors to make sure that we keep a steady flow of the hardware and not hold them back from their building schedule. Not only that, we've with the wireless infrastructure that Chris has strengthened and expanded over the last year and a half, we're pretty close to being right where we need to be. So, and we'll reutilize all those access points in the new high school. So, nothing that we've implemented over the past 5-6 years is going to go into waste. We're going to be transferring that and making sure that we have that at a minimum in the new building.
What are your busiest time of year and why?
We used to have a cycle of typically, well, at least for me, it was typically from June, once the students graduated, till December was typically the busiest time of year. Now I'm starting to find out it's nonstop, it's constant. We used to have in the springtime where I wouldn't say downtime, but it gave us a time to actually plan and try to get ready for the new year. But it seems to be pretty much constant throughout the entire year now. So there's constantly new projects and new technologies that we have to keep looking into, so we're ready for the following year.
I agree. I think probably the slowest time is probably December, and I think most of that's because of Christmas break and no one's here. That's probably the time where we get a lot of work done and caught up, but pretty much I would agree the rest of the year is pretty busy. We're constantly, like you said, looking into new technologies and always trying to find another way to do what we need to do in technology.
In the past, job shadowing and internship opportunities were offered. Is that still planned moving forward?
Sure, we welcome that. And another thing we do is we actually have sub-technicians that we encourage for hiring during the summertime. It gives either college students or students, high school students, the opportunity to work with us during the summer, get some technology-related experience throughout the summer as they help us prepare for the next school year. So,
how can people contact you for more information about that?
Probably the best way would be to do it is to email me. You can email me at tgrenda@asd.k12.pa.us. That's probably the most efficient way of getting a hold of me, and I can assist you further.
Every year we ask this, so let me ask you guys. If we were to take a long view at the ASD Technology Department, what would you like to see in the ASD Technology Department's future?
You want to start with that, Chris? I have some visions, but I would like to hear what yours are.
Oh, thank you. A long view. Wow. Can we have an endless supply of money? No. No. I think it kind of goes along with what we're already doing now. And our team has been pretty, as Tony indicated earlier, creative with technology. We're constantly striving to find new ways to do things that cost a lot of money in corporations. So I think we're going to continue down that road. I mean, we're trying to find either low cost or no cost similar products that are out there, and they take a little bit of time to implement, but I think over the course of the several years, things are going to change a lot, and I think part of it will be with the new building opening. I think that's going to give us some opportunity to sort of maybe showcase some things that we've come up with along the way. And I think that's kind of it's sort of a generalized view, but I don't know specifically devices. I mean, things are going to become more portable than they ever were, and that's just the trend of technology in general. So I think we're just going to be keeping up with that, and that's sort of the way I see it.
I think it's the way we deliver the content. It's going to be, I think, I see us moving away from server-based applications to more like a cloud-based applications, which in turn allows us to use these mobile devices, the tablets, the iPads, or Chromebooks. And they said and Chris has already laid the foundation for that, for that use by implementing a robust wireless environment for us. So I think we're really in a good place as far as moving forward with technology. The foundation's there. It's just, it's so hard to determine what's going to happen over the next 5-10 years with technology changes so much, but I just personally think we're really going towards those mobile devices.
Well, that's our show for today. I'd like to thank our guests, Mr. Tony Grenda and Mr. Chris Glosson of the Armstrong School District, for giving their busy schedules up to talk about our district's wonderful technologies. Our thanks go to the TV production students of Fort City High School, led by their teacher, Mrs. Catherine Gibbon. They were our film crew today.
Please join us again next week for another look at the Armstrong School District. Visit our website for updated information about the district, and have a great week. Stay classy, Armstrong County.